Good morning, everybody. I am Marketa Kytta, Professor of Land Use Planning in Aalto University.
And I'm Samira Ramazani, a postdoctoral researcher at Aalto University.
And we are going to talk about our work package that is all about mobility management and the needs of residents in port cities. And we are going to present our participatory approach. And this participatory approach is approach that we have developed in Aalto University during the last 15 years. And it has the basic idea that we are collecting data from the everyday mobility patterns, experiences, attitudes, etc. from residents in a place-based manner, so that these aspects of human behavior patterns is geocoded, and in that way we can actually create a whole new layer of knowledge. We call it soft GIS knowledge layers on top of the rich information about the physical environmental characteristics that traditional GIS is all about. And you might wonder why this kind of place-based approach is viable or interesting. Well, I would argue that on the one hand, this kind of approach provides us very many new research possibilities, because if the knowledge from residents is place-based, we can analyze it together with a lot of different aspects, for example, transportation network system characteristics, or land use patterns, or traffic simulations, for example. But at the same time, this approach probably or perhaps provides a whole new approach to participatory planning, because the very aspect of this approach is that each piece of information given by residents is linked to places, so to very specific design or planning solutions. And therefore, this approach probably provides much more usable information for planners and designers than any more traditional approach. And actually we have been able to show that that is really the case, because this approach has been used in more than 30 countries, and the users include cities of New York, Denver, etc. Soon Samira is concretely showing how this methodology actually looks like. It is we are talking about a map-based survey that is able to reach, hopefully also in these cases, quite large groups of participants. So it allows us to open up to large pile of knowledge from users. But in this picture, I want to highlight that, of course, the participatory process has to be seen as a complex ongoing process, where there are times when you have to open up to large new knowledge, and times when you want to converge the knowledge and try to find new solutions. And that's what we are trying to do in HUPMOBILE project, to serve different knowledge needs in different phases of planning process.
Yes, and so now to provide you with an example of how we started working with the city of Turku, I'm going to talk about the survey that is going to be launched in January in the city of Turku. So in this survey, we are going to actually have two parts. In the first part, we will collect general travel patterns of the residents in the whole Turku region. And also what it has in addition to the national travel surveys is that we are also asking about people's travel attitudes and their preferences for different neighborhood characteristics. And of course, we will have background information of people. So people are going to map their weekly travel patterns and like what mode of transportation they usually use to reach those places or those like commonly used places during a typical week in winter versus other seasons. And then they will also provide some information about their travel-related attitudes, like whether they care about the environment, whether they prefer to reduce number of trips, and so forth, and also neighborhood characteristics that could actually actualize their preferences for different modes of transportation. And then how this data could be used with planners and policymakers is that then we can, based on these information, group residents and have know about how different segments of residents in the city, like those who are more environmentally aware, those who are auto-oriented or transit preferring, would have different travel patterns, and what are the characteristics of these different groups of residents are, where do they actually reside, and where they travel, and also what improvements in services and facilities in the these different segments want, which current neighborhoods have the potential to increase the use of sustainable travel modes if facilities and services are improved. But also this information could be used to for example, know what segments of population to target for policies that aim at increasing sustainable travel behavior. For example, whether we have to have information campaigns targeting the auto-oriented, or whether attracting residents with a high interest in transit, or who shop locally to new developed transit-oriented neighborhoods. And then, of course, in this survey, we also have some context-based issues that the city of Turku, for example, wanted to know. For example, there was this question of the mobility in the harbor area. And so we are asking the respondents to map all the locations that they visit in harbor area during a year. And then there will be also a pop-up question that will ask them what is the main purpose of visiting that place, how often they travel to that, and what is the primary and secondary mode that they use, and whether they are satisfied and how satisfied they are, and if not, why. And of course, they are then asked about the use of possible mobility services that the city of Turku is considering to have in the area. And they are asked how likely it is that they would use these different services, like, for example, bicycle sharing services, scooter sharing, car or ride sharing, or car rental services, or even improvements in the public transport and walking and cycling infrastructure. And then another case is accessibility of the archipelago and other recreational areas. So in this part, we are actually asking the respondents to map all the places that they visit in the archipelago area for their recreational trips, and if also to map the places that they think are difficult to reach, and whether they want to have a new route to reach that place. And then there would be a pop-up question again about what kind of route they would like it to be, whether they want it to be a walking or cycling route, or water bus route, or city ferry, or public transportation, or even driving route. So in this way, we can also link those general travel patterns and these different attitudes of people with how they prefer these different services, and then there could be also targeted to change travel behavior in a way. Yes, thank you.
That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Margetta and Samira. And next, I would like